I'm going to make a little shop video here, kind of a shop update, but the video is going to be probably shorter than it usually is, and it's not going to be really about the shop update. It's going to be about the snowstorm that Buffalo received recently and has been in the news. Actually, there was two snowstorms that were recently in the news about Buffalo or Hamburg, where I live. So what I'm going to do, shut you off, and then just going to kind of walk around the shop, showing you the shop and not my face, and kind of explain some things to you that has been kind of misreported or misrepresented by the media on this whole thing, just like it is with a lot of other things. Um, Actually, I had just received a text from Adam Booth asking me if, how we were, if everything was okay up here, kind of knowing that I lived around the Buffalo area. So that's kind of what I had been thinking about doing this, but his text kind of inspired me to do it, and the questions that he asked kind of inspired me to do this little briefing on the snowstorm. So let me shut you off and I'll bring you back and kind of show you some things around the shop as I talk. Okay, so we're over here by the haul truck, and let me start out with this and just explain that I have been working on this, and I've got a video that I've been trying to get together of different segments of me working on this and trying to rectify this real problem, but you'll see that in the video. I'll just hold you on this while I talk. Yeah, so Buffalo got hit with a snowstorm, and usually Buffalo doesn't get hit because of the shape of the lake. Our snowstorms are basically, well, of course, there's snowstorms that are dictated by where we live and the snow that comes here, but most of the snowstorms around the Buffalo area, or Hamburg, let me rephrase that, Hamburg and the south towns of Buffalo, are dictated because of lake effect snow. About 2 weeks ago from the publishing of this video, Hamburg got hit with a snowstorm that was widely covered on the Weather Channel and misrepresented totally on the Weather Channel. But we did receive 81 inches of snow in about a 36-hour period. But again, this is where we live, and we are kind of accustomed to that down here in Hamburg. Now, recently, within the last couple of days or over Christmas, it started actually just before Christmas and continued on through Christmas Day, where Buffalo got hit with a lot of snow because the prevailing winds kind of pushed that storm up northeasterly instead of the westerly direction, which affects Hamburg more often or more so. But Buffalo got hit with snow, and it became a problem. It became a problem for a couple of reasons, because now we have politicians that don't budget conditions that should be budgeted, or department heads that do not equip their departments with the items needed to handle situations like this. And I'll just give you somewhat of an example. It's been widely reported, and again, I don't watch the news, so I'm just telling you what people have told me. It was widely reported that a lot of people died because ambulances, fire trucks, stuff like that couldn't get to them in Buffalo. That's probably very true. But there's a lot of things that affect why they couldn't get to them. First of all, you live in Buffalo, you would think that the ambulances should probably be four-wheel drive vehicles. Well, most of them, probably all of them, are not. Two-wheel drive vehicles. But the second thing is they shut down the thruway system So all these people that were on the thruway are now onto city streets or town or county roads, and probably don't know where they're going. And these roads are also not being plowed, but they're getting stuck and creating plow trucks to not be able to plow the areas, the streets or the roads. So one of the things is we do not have planning. We do not have planning on a political scale that can get departments to work together and deal with situations like this. It's just ridiculous to shut the thruway down with no planning on where these vehicles are going to go or how they're going to get to where they're going or not get to where they're going. If you're going to shut it down, you have to have a place for these people to be able to drive and get through, or some place to kind of hold them and house them if you're going to take them off of the road. Absolutely no planning on their department heads. Same way with the ambulance corps. I mean, technically we don't get hit with these storms a lot, but when we do, it becomes devastating. People should have equipment to deal with this. Ambulances should be four-wheel drive, or they should have a way of being able to route maybe a plow with them so that they can deal with these situations. The same way with the fire department. Fire department couldn't get to a lot of emergencies because their trucks were stuck, or because the roads were blocked by these people that were out. Now, the other thing is, people seem to have lost common sense and critical thinking. A lot of people blame it on teaching, but some of it is due to parenting, to people have to be taught common sense or how to use common sense to do stuff like this. I live around in an area where we get these storms. When it becomes winter, there is always extra clothes in my car, in my truck. I've got a blanket, I've got a pillow, because you can become stuck. You can become stranded on a thruway. The thruway shut down, or you can't get any place on it, and you can become stranded until they get plows out to relieve the congestion and get you back to where you were being able to go, where you were going to go to begin with. So you could become stranded for a day in your vehicle, so that you have to have common sense and critical thinking enough to know that you need supplies with you at all times in case something like this happens. You need extra clothes, you need to have enough fuel in your car to be able to run it and stay warm. There's a big push for electric vehicles in New York State because of our political climate, and they are mandating a lot of, like they're starting to mandate that, I don't even want to get into this, but one of the mandates is that they have electric buses, school buses for children. Now, the one district in our area has came up with this, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. But the point being is, you could never have an electric vehicle get stranded in a storm like this. The batteries don't last that long, especially when there's heat and lights are on, and they have such a short charging time now. If they ever got stranded, they wouldn't last for more than a couple of hours before the heat would be off, and you would have a bunch of kids on a school bus stranded in freezing conditions. But anyways, so one of the things that gets overemphasized is the rational and irrational um, media coverage. You know, things are sensationalized so that people view channels, and that happened a couple of weeks ago when we got hit with 81 inches of snow in 36 hours. With, you know, you just saw these irrational reports that on television, that, and it happens everywhere. I mean, you see the same thing when Florida gets hit with hurricanes. Florida gets hit with hurricanes every year. Most of the people that live in Florida know how to deal with it, know what they need to do, kind of are able to predict or able to see where it's going to go, whether they should evacuate, not evacuate, what they should do, batten down the hatches, whatever they need to do, board their houses up, or whatever they need to do. But then you'll have people out there, news media's out there, sensationalizing the whole thing, saying that everybody's at risk and everybody's going to die, and the same thing happened to here. So, yeah, you just have to take what you hear with a grain of salt. So let me just conclude this by saying, you know, if there's anything that you can do, is just try and teach people to use common sense and have critical thinking. Common sense would have saved a lot of people. Getting our political climate back on track. I'm not kidding. I'm not supporting one political group over another. I'm just saying that we need people back in politics that can make common sense decisions and getting budgets where they need to be to deal with things like this, to have department heads get their equipment in case they have situations like this where they can respond to it. To get department heads to use, if you're going to shut down a road, and I've had this happen when there wasn't a storm, but where there was a traffic accident and they've taken me off of a road and had absolutely no plan in place of where to direct traffic to get around this situation. I've been in the middle of I don't remember what state it was, Oklahoma or someplace like that, and they took me off the highway because of an accident with absolutely no guidance as to where to go to get back on track. And your GPS, once you programmed a GPS in, it always wants you to take you back to the way it had originally planned on you going. So GPS isn't good in getting you around an accident scene because it doesn't know that there is a problem there. So you need people to make decisions in the way that they run departments for towns, states, whatever, the country for sure. But anyways, that's it. Enough of my bullshit. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe.